Excellent. Thank you, Dorothy. We are ready to call the meeting to order and do our usual roll call. So I'm Micah Corsi, Chair.
Paul Stern, Vice Chair.
I'm Gina DeVivo Brassa,
And
member.
Nurse in residence.
Yeah. Thank you. I'm Debbie Pilato Fontaine, actually just Pilato right now. Thank you.
Dorothy DeVal.
Martina Wharton.
Will Beagle, member.
Where's Sheila today?
Sheila's traveling,
That's right.
remember? Right.
Yeah.
And I assume Jennifer's coming back. She recommended that we change the order of the agenda. And start with new business. And
So you're gonna keep your hands up.
our pleasure to welcome two committee member candidates.
Do we need to vote on that?
I'm sorry.
Do you need to vote on changing the agenda?
What's
All
gonna
right, I
happen?
make a
Don't.
motion to change the
Yeah, I
agenda.
second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Sorry,
It's that.
Whatever you need, Dorothy, just.
Yeah.
Good, okay, so welcome,
In there.
Debbie and Martina, welcome.
Thank
We'll start with Debbie.
Okay,
So maybe you could tell the committee a little bit about yourself and why you're interested in joining us.
Okay, well, I'm Debbie. I recently moved to Mansfield from Woodstock, from Witcheswood Lake, and where I lived for over 40 years. But I'm very familiar with stores in Mansfield because I did all of my graduate work at UConn, and that's where I got my PhD. And I've been a professor of teacher education and then global studies for way over 30 years, and then became ordained and ministry. So I'm currently the settled pastor at Second Congregational Church in Woodstock, in Coventry, right on Route 44, across from Highland Market. And
That one?
yeah,
There's two in.
right, the
Coventry,
ones
right?
in the village,
Yeah.
right? First church, we're second church. And I'm really interested, I think just from a human rights and equality perspective, because that's been a big focus of my work and been teaching for so long. And then starting in January, I'll be the new chair of WAME, Wyndham Area Interfaith Ministry in Willimantic, and we're doing a lot with affordable housing. So I thought it would be a good connection, a good partnership. When I saw some of the skills needed, of course, I don't know anything about engineering or zoning or building structures. Yeah, it's in there. But more of the soft skills, the humanistic skills. But I love public speaking and I can do research and hopefully I can help out wherever it's needed.
And presumably you've seen the need,
Oh, yes, definitely, of course, definitely.
vital to making it work. Yeah.
Definitely. the
Do you guys
need, for
have
sure.
questions for Debbie?
You have a sense of humor. No, just-
Yeah.
I
I
finally
do.
recognize her. Yeah, we both live in the same place.
Oh, you live at Rolling Hills too?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you and I were at the Carol Scott's party.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I know exactly where
Yeah,
you live.
right
Across the
across.
street.
I
Yeah.
know her.
I'm looking at her and I'm.
Make the changes.
Okay.
I know. her.
Yes, that's right. You
Do
did.
you,
Chat
yeah.
for a bit.
Debbie, you have questions for us?
Yeah.
No, I mean, I read over the packet and the agenda for today and no real questions right now. But I hope I can become a member and. We'll
So
see
you're
how things
welcome
go.
to stay the whole time, but if you have to leave. we
No,
understand.
I would too. Good, thank you.
Great.
Have you watched any of our earlier meetings on YouTube and the streaming channel?
I have not,
That's,
no.
you might find that amusing.
Okay.
Yeah, you guys.
I didn't know I could do that, okay.
Pull out the
Yeah.
laundry or like, whatever and start folding and.
It's a great way to go to public meetings because
Yeah, right.
your dinner or whatever.
I know, right?
But it actually would give you what we've been struggling with more recently has been all kind of zoning stuff. So you might help you with,
Sure,
get your finger on that a little
yeah,
bit.
oh, definitely, thank you, I will do that, thank you.
So Martina, welcome.
Thank you.
You want to tell us a little bit about
Yeah,
yourself?
I'll read this because I get nervous.
Don't be nervous.
So I wrote that I was always a concerned citizen. I've lived in Mansfield since 1968. I came,
Whoa.
yes. We came here as students at UConn.
Wow.
And I came here in 66 and my husband, who's now my ex-husband, came in 67. We moved here with no housing. And so we met with Fred Simon. There were 3 married couples, undergraduate students, and there was no university housing for us. So Fred Simon said, I know a landlord in this town. He went to the Schragers and said,
Sam Schrager.
Sam Schrager, yeah, Dr.
Oh.
Schrager, and said, I have 3 families undergraduate married students who need housing.
Wow.
And he said, what's their source of income?
Sam.
Stipends. We were students with stipends, and he said, if you guarantee their stipends, we can do housing. And so 3 of us moved into down at Maple Road.
Oh.
3 of us undergraduate. And we had our daughter who graduated from Yale Smith in, I gotta get them right, 1985. And my youngest graduated in 1987 from Yale Smith. And they both graduated from UConn. I graduated from UConn. My ex graduated from UConn.
You bleed blue.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah,
My granddaughter,
Yeah.
my granddaughter got to wear the legacy shawl.
Wow.
She
Oh,
says,
that's
I'm not sure I should
wonderful.
wear this. Like, oh no, wear it. It's okay. It's a state school. It's okay. So I've been here forever. I was always a concerned landlord. In 1980, I believe it was. Rural Homes Limited came to the town and said there are a number of people who cannot afford to buy houses in this town. I was one of them. And Berlinger, I think was his name. Berlinger.
Marty Berlin.
Marty.
Marty, yeah.
Marty
Down there.
said, if you can show me 10 families, then we'll do something about it. We'll do it. And the chamber, I think was the old chamber, was filled with people who were children of professors who had moved from this town because they could not afford to live here. I was having a hard time as a single mom with 2 kids, trying to stay in this town so my kids could have a quality education. The room was full. And then he said, well, let's do it this way. Current people who currently live in Mansfield, come back to the next meeting. And we did. And we started a self-help program through Rural Homes. 1981, we cleared the land on Maple Road, built our houses in 82, 83. It was in the Chronicle. We were the first self-help group around here. And so, and
Wow.
I've always been a landlord. I built a duplex because I was a single mother. I could not build a single home. The Andersons built next to me, and Jeffrey and his wife, I forgot their names. I think they were Austins. So I had to build a duplex because if I didn't have a source of income, that was going to be my source of income.
So that was financially
Yeah.
smart thing to do.
Yeah, so the Sal Zito, who was from Rural Homes, the state of Connecticut has this duplex program, but only men have built duplexes. And I was like, okay, sign me up. So I was one of 2 women to build a duplex so that I could have income. And then I applied to the town and I was a Section 8 landlord for 12 years.
Oh,
So I've
wow.
always been concerned about housing here. I rented to mothers with children, especially women who are going to UConn in the PhD program, because it was hard. It was really hard. So that's
It's
my
still
housing.
really hard.
It still is, yeah, it still is, it still is. Because I'm a retired social worker. And I brought someone to Wright's Way, I think maybe 15, 12 years ago. And they were under income to live at Wright's Way.
At Wright's Way.
At Wright's Way, they were under income. He was a trucker and she was a stay-at-home mom because they had just had a child. Under income to live at Wright's Way.
So where did they live?
They ended up, her father died, so her mother and her husband and she and her 2 children live at Rinwood. They've been at Rinwood all this time,
Well,
at Rinwood, in order to afford to stay in this town. So it's still tough. It's still tough.
you hear stories regularly about especially single moms who have
Yes,
kids in the school
right,
system.
Right.
And they value the school system and they want to stay in town
Yeah.
and they're scratching around trying to find
It's
something.
hard. It's hard. You know, and as a senior, I'm concerned with senior affordable
Yeah.
housing.
We are
That's why
too.
we're on the same committee. So
Sure.
I'm on the Commission on Aging. I was recently appointed to the Fair Rent Commission,
Mm.
so I look forward to doing that.
Well,
Let's see, things about being a landlord. So I sold my house in 2010. I was on the waiting list at Juniper Hill Village for 2 years.
Yeah.
So I kind of couch surfed. I'm kind of old to be doing that, but I couch surfed. And then my pastor had a place to stay, so I stayed there until I went to Juniper Hill Village.
And that's where you live now.
That's where I live now.
Yeah.
And I wanted to say, even before I read your annual report, I came to this committee, the advice of Will one time. And I liked what you were doing, and I liked the approach that you were taking. And I knew that I was thinking about being on this committee. So thank you.
that's wonderful.
That's
And-
great.
And
Yeah.
when she's
thanks
nervous,
so
I
much.
can't wait for
Yeah,
you.
right.
Awesome.
So, thank you.
Questions? Thank you.
Yeah, do you have questions for us?
No, I've watched you.
Good.
Good.
I've watched you.
So I'm confused about our order. Did
Yeah,
you
I
wanna do
am-
this next? I know you have to leave, so.
So the town of Mansfield has a local government academy, and every department presents at that, from the fire, the fire department, there's about 20 people that register and they learn about all the different departments. So the planning and development department is tonight.
Okay.
So, yeah, so I just wanted to,
Did you want to do the staff report?
yeah, why don't I
Okay.
go and do that a little bit? So let's see, here we go. So you had wanted me to give an update on the hub. I think most
Yeah,
of
I
you,
thought we should debrief on that because there might be some residual issues.
yeah, I'm sure there's, it's, so the Planning and Zoning Commission approved the application with the fee in lieu of almost $3.3 million. The fee in lieu is actually collected once the zoning permit is filed. So the way the development process works is that they get approved for their special permit, and then they have to come in for a zoning permit. And so if you read the condition of approval, there's just things you have to do before you get a zoning permit, and then things you have to do before you get a certificate of zoning compliance. So the town will collect that check when they file their zoning permit. Then we can't use that money until they have started building some units. So I started looking at that, and I think that, well, I can go, I've sent out a spreadsheet. I'll kind of segue into that. And I think as of
think that's what
today,
she's
you have
talking
about $2.5 million that you can use in the.
So that's like free and clear. We don't have to wait for it to mature or anything like that. It's out there
Correct.
for use now.
Yes, and so, and of that, the council approved $500,000. We had a surplus in FY 22-23, and so they put $500,000 of that surplus into the Affordable Housing Trust. And there also is, it's not in the trust, but it's ARPA money that is allocated for affordable housing, and that has to be encumbered. Means we have to sign a contract before December 2024, and that's $350,000
Before December when?
of 24. So we have a
You have a
year,
year.
a year to encumber it, and then it has to be out the door by December of 2026. So that money really could be used for like site design. It could really be helpful or buying some deed restrictions. But all told, you're going to have about 5.8 million once the hub gets started.
So Jennifer, I'm sorry, so 350 is ARPA, and then the remaining of the 500 is the surplus, or 500 plus 350?
No, the ARP, so the $500,000 for the surplus and 350 for ARPA, and then the remaining is for the fee and lieu collected.
Yeah.
Okay.
So 850 million or $850,000 surplus plus ARPA.
No.
Surplus is 5 and ARPA is 350.
Yeah.
Together are 850.
Yeah, and then we get, then you
And
get,
then the
fee and lieu.
other money, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
So this suggests that we want to think about putting out the word and getting applications.
Yeah.
And because that's going to be a learning process for us.
No kidding.
And
So
think we ought to start thinking about doing it.
I,
Does everyone agree with that or any discussion?
so when I was thinking about your opportunity, I mean, you have a good opportunity. You're gonna go to the council on November 27th. They have a very full agenda. And you do not want to be at a town council meeting doing a presentation during a full agenda. It can be brutal. So Ryan, I've been working with Ryan, the town manager, and we want to put you on the November 27th agenda. And at that time, my thought is that you do your presentation, you talk about all the good work you've been doing. Then you have two asks from the council. And the first one is for them to endorse the priorities that you've established. And I worked, Michael has seen it, Paul has seen it. I wanted to take your priorities and kind of couch them in the priorities that are already in the ordinance that are already adopted. So basically there's a section of that ordinance that says the Affordable Housing Trust Committee can also establish priorities. So what they would be doing is pursuant to that section of the ordinance, they would be adopting those priorities that you're recommending that they adopt.
So our priorities would be subsumed into the bigger ordinance.
Correct. It wouldn't be in the ordinance,
Well,
but it would be, right, it would be an
reference,
official,
like,
yeah, exactly. And then the second thing is for them to, and I have to talk to Ryan about this. I don't know if they need to approve your application so that you can start getting, sending out requests for proposals, but probably they should know what that application is. And it would be, I think it can't, I don't want them to, I want to keep it at kind of a high level so they're not getting into too much into the weeds. So, but I do think that you should go forward and ask them to approve your application. And then so they would approve the application and authorize the staff to work with the committee to issue an RFP for proposals for affordable housing. So how to use those trust funds. And
Excellent.
that, I think that's going to show that's going to be your next year. You're going to have a lot of work. Also, as part of my staff report, Michael had asked me to give an update on Eagleville Green, and so
Just
was that part?
communication piece to the planning and zoning.
Oh, okay. So, well, if you want, Eagleville Green is moving along very well. They and they are going to be closing soon on all of their financing, but I think I don't have an expected when they're going to be open for business yet, but they are working, they're under construction. You can see the big piles of soil out there. Yeah. So, and we're also working on those South Eagleville Road infrastructure improvements, and that includes
pedestrian safety and all that
pedestrian
stuff.
safety, medians, crosswalks, the widening of the path so that people can get to downtown from Glen Ridge and
Yeah.
So we're gonna have the only place where we wouldn't have a sidewalk on that sort of downtown loop now will be from Tower Hill Road at Yukon to 195, and we are advocating furiously to try to get some funding for that sidewalk, because that's going to be really important as we have all that development up at the Four Corners.
Are we gonna hear from the lawyer with respect to the application form?
Yeah.
Before we get to the council, because it would be good to know that the application meets all the legal
Right.
requirements for whatever they are.
So what I was wondering is if there's maybe the committee could authorize me to work. So inevitably I'm gonna have to, there might be wordsmithing of the application, but as long as there's no substantive changes and I can review it with the chair or with Paul, with a member, whomever, if what I can do is hopefully I can nail down our attorney, who's just kind of hard sometimes. And I can get that application buttoned up, put it in that, what we call an agenda item summary with a recommended motion for the council. So just, I think if the committee can just approve that, as long as Mike, like, I could review it with Michael or Paul, as long as there's no substantive changes,
Yeah.
I'm gonna make
You
it
need
into
a
a,
motion?
sure,
I move it.
I'll second it.
Am I allowed to move and second them?
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
all in favor?
Can't do both.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? You got it. Thank you.
It would be, I'm assuming that there's certain like stock things that town applications and forms and stuff
Yeah.
have to include, and that's what I'm assuming
Yeah.
he's gonna bring to the party.
I have to take, so I've looked at your priorities, I kind of included them into that ordinance, and I had hoped that I would have the time to look at that application. But I haven't yet this week, so that I had wanted to bring it up both to you this week, but I have not been able to.
Good. This is great. So I think we hit everything. Status of the application we talked about, that's moving, and then housing trust fund. So anything else? Any
No,
other questions?
Yeah, we're ready for the 26th, right?
Yeah,
the 27th,
Oh, 27th.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, like-
I guess,
Sorry, I
Day of the week is
26th.
that? That's Monday, right?
I guess something I'd like to talk.
yes, sir.
Is that new business?
Well, I don't know if it's new business, but we're talking about going up to the council, okay? I'm talking about age restricted housing. We gotta get them people. I need your backing on this, okay? I need you to put this into some presentation to them. The Commission on Aging went up before the council and we presented that to them. That 15-15 thing that we talked about. In other words, they give 15%, we want 15% of that 15%.
Oh, 15% of the
Yeah,
set
so-
aside.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so 100 houses would get us two. You know, 100 affordable units would get us
So,
two.
Potentially.
That's
Yeah.
age restricted, okay?
Yeah.
The Commission on Aging is in a process of going through a letter to go to planning and zoning. We went before planning and zoning. I made my pitch at planning and zoning, but I haven't heard anything come out of this committee about it in any of this talk that we've had. And I think it's very important, very, very important. And I think that we ought to include this in some kind of presentation.
Yeah,
Is it part of our priorities? Like,
Yes.
Yeah.
yes,
yeah, so.
yeah,
priorities, but it's not
I'm not-
here.
That's-
Yeah, I mean, I've been waiting for somebody to say something and I said, no, now it's my turn. It's my turn
15%
to
of
start.
15% seems awfully small to me.
Well, Paul, it's just like I told the council, it's a start,
Yeah, I'm not,
okay?
yeah, I'm not disputing.
I
that.
don't
guess-
wanna, I don't wanna scare them by saying, hey, I want half of what you got.
Well, I guess what I was thinking was that when they do the set aside, they give us 80% AMI rooms. Well, couldn't we work out some kind of a deal where if they give us a 50% AMI or a 30% AMI or an age restricted 50% AMI unit, that we could work with them to, reduce the number of units they have to give us in total. If they're giving us a unit that's harder to
Sure.
run.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just thinking out loud here, but
I think, so, I don't, from a zoning perspective, so I think there's a lot of money out there for the low income. It's just a matter of getting
getting it built.
it, well, finding someone who can help us to leverage that money. So there's two things happening. We have this 830G thing that's looming over us, okay?
And then will be forever.
And it will be forever. So we gotta push through on that. And we don't want to put, I've heard from you that you don't think it's fair for all of the affordable housing burden to fall on
Builders
builders, or
and their tenants ultimately.
ultimately,
Yeah.
so basically what's happening is people who live in apartments they're dealing with this, right? Because their
Built
rent,
into their rent.
it's built into their rent. And so maybe that's, and it's in your priorities to look, to use the trust funds. And for example, if something were built using a CHFA loan, I think they're gonna be doing, like, if you look at Eagleville Green, that they're all under 60% AMI, and most of them are under 50% AMI. I believe. So I think, and Rebecca Fields also feels strongly about this, that she said that let the nonprofits, the housing authority folks, because it's really hard economically to do that. And, you know, we live in a capitalist society. These
Yep.
developers are here to make money, and like it or not, you know, we do want some development, but they're not giving the town charity, right? They're only gonna do this if they can make the project work.
Right.
So it's just bad. It's walking this line that is really hard. You know, after the past year, we've learned a lot, right?
Amen to that.
Yeah.
I've learned a lot. I mean, yeah. So it's just, and you know, constant policy is constantly changing. So I don't know. And to me, writing my staff report when I've got this limited time, and that's almost becomes a negotiation. And I feel like the last thing I want to be doing with zoning is, it would have to be so clear, you know, like you
Yeah.
can't negotiate during zoning
I mean,
so
this-
much.
It can certainly be a priority for this group with the trust funds, right?
Yeah, I was just actually, if I could jump
I
in.
mean. if
I
we
was just
can-
actually thinking, you know, I wonder if for the housing trust fund, if we create language that says, you know, like each year we will make priorities, like a priority, like grouping, like first year it's seniors, you know,
Yeah,
and projects that are within that lens
Mm-hmm.
will, you know, get additional, right? And maybe it then becomes that it's senior, the focus is, because then we could look at the data each year,
I think that's an.
and then we
excellent idea.
could say like, wow, we've
See what we
met
can
some
do
of
it.
that need,
Well-
and now it's lopsided.
And if we put out RFPs and we get, I don't know how we're even gonna get one, but if we got 4, and one of them was for senior housing and three others were for something else. I don't think it would be unreasonable for us to say that our greatest need is for the senior housing, and that,
Yeah,
and then if
Absolutely.
we didn't have enough money to pay them all, to loan or grant to them all, then we could
Prioritize.
prioritize it
Yeah.
that way.
exactly, yeah.
I think that's a smart way to do it, because I do think then we'll find ourselves probably catching
And-
the pockets of people who
And
need it.
part
the
of this will
most.
be what opportunities naturally arise.
Yeah,
Right,
but
so I mean,
the
But maybe
15
it'll-
of 15 notion strikes me as maybe overly complicated in the minds of the zoners. And if they're building a building like they've been doing for students, are they gonna wanna put, you know, one senior unit in a,
I know that's, I know it's tough. I know it's a tough.
I mean, in constant,
You'll see
I-
who wants to live there.
I've been going uphill with this for
we're
years.
totally on board in the concept of pushing for the senior housing. I'm just not sure that I can see a way to manage this 15-15 idea.
I think that's easy. I can write
Yeah.
the staff memo for that.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
okay, well, then
I mean,
I get
just
that, I got no
like
problem.
we do, like, just like we do family-friendly units, right? They have to do a big zoning table. They have to show us the square footage, a certain percentage has to be outdoor space, counter space, they have to figure that out. Well, some of those family-friendly units, and that portion has to be affordable, and we just say either make them affordable on site or find 2 other units somewhere else to convert. I think that could work.
Okay, fine.
I love it.
So I think that, you know, that's a reg change, and I can bring that up with the planning and zoning commission.
Okay,
So, yeah, so one or 2 units and everything would be especially ground floor for seniors with all the,
yeah,
and devoted to their use and,
Right. Well, it
And
would
held
be just
for their
restrict, it would be restricted, it'd be the same restriction, but would have an additional covenant or whatever it's called
Yeah.
for 55 and older.
yeah, now that you mention it, it's not like a 30% unit where their rent is gonna be much lower. It's just a different age tenant.
that's all it is. Yeah, it's,
So, oh, you're saying affordable?
yeah.
Yeah, affordable.
It's
Yeah,
gotta, yeah, it's gotta
He
be.
just wants a portion of the
Yeah,
whole
Affordable.
affordable thing to be
Yeah.
set aside for
Definitely, yeah.
yeah,
the elderly.
I do think we should though also have our piece around the fund. We should, prioritize.
Yeah.
I like your idea. I like
You-
your
you
idea.
can-
Yeah.
You're
Yeah,
right.
I just think both would
Yeah.
be, I think it's just helping
Why stop
us.
at one?
So there's a couple of things. There's your priorities that you can go to the council. You can go every month if things change, but let's face it, right? I mean, like, that's an easy, it's not, it's sort of a priority. It's a policy that the council adopts. Every 5 years, you have to do an affordable housing plan. So those priorities can be listed. Why is that funny?
We've
Nothing.
only barely made it through 1 year.
I know. Tell me about the planning. Yeah. So lucky for you, it's gonna be incorporated into the plan of conservation and development.
Right.
So it's good. So we're coming up, the affordable housing plan. You're gonna get a new one in 2025 because it's gonna be incorporated into the plan of conservation development. So that's another time where you can outline some of those priorities.
If I'm not mistaken, our intention was to review our priorities every year.
Yeah.
Yeah, you definitely can do that.
Us eternally.
Yeah.
And in reality, we're gonna be reviewing them every time we get another RFP.
Yeah,
Right.
Yeah.
That's
exactly.
what it boils down to.
Yeah.
And the other thing with these RFPs, I had my monthly meeting with Ryan, and I said, we've got this money now. Okay, we've been the Affordable Housing Committee's been working really hard, but now it's time, we gotta get out there and start rubbing shoulders and making
Yeah.
some deals.
Yeah.
And that,
Yeah, because that
Takes
money
it.
is nice, but you can't live in money.
you can't live in money. And
Right.
so this is the hard, like, getting and spending this money is not gonna be that as much as it doesn't seem like all that much money. It's finding the right project
Right.
that is gonna be really impactful for the town. Cause I
Yeah,
think,
Where it's a leverage, where we might
Exactly.
find land
Yeah.
or
Right.
find
Infrastructure.
somebody that
right,
One of
is
the,
ready to.
one of the
change
reasons
and-
we want that story of Eagleville Green to get up the chain is because I don't think that many people in
Understand
town
what part it
understand
is.
what an uphill climb it is to build and, to find and create and build this kind of housing. I don't think they think, oh, we'll just have someone do it.
so what I'll
Give them a bunch of
do,
money."
how about I
It's
do
not that
this?
easy.
Would you mind if I turn that into a memo and put it in from the Affordable Housing Committee to the town council?
That's fine.
And
That's fine.
PZC, and we'll make sure.
Yes, that's what I was hoping that they
Yeah.
would.
Yep, I can do
just-
that.
We need to educate them as to
Yeah.
the realities of this.
Yep.
And they've got other things on their mind that they can't
Right.
be
Right.
spending their time thinking about it like we can.
So what time do you have to leave?
6:30.
In a few minutes. So,
Oh, okay.
um,
I think we're gonna have a lot of questions about the hub.
okay, what are the,
So basically, did everyone watch this and see the outcome?
I
They approved it with the
If
fee
you're
and low, but
Familiar with,
basically,
with the project?
I am not.
Well, it's
But I
it's a
will.
privately run dormitory that will have how many beds?
1,165.
Oh,
And-
I did hear, yes. okay,
And
yeah, I did
it's
hear about that.
our committee wanted them to, you're familiar with our 15% set aside?
Yes.
We wanted them to do like all the other developers recently have done and give us the actual physical units. They
Right.
didn't want to do that. They would rather have paid the $3.3 million fee,
Mhm.
which we believe was grossly too low compared to when a developer gives you the units, they're giving us 100% of the units, and this is only like 3 or 4% of the units.
so that,
Mhm.
that particular site is zoned for group dwelling,
Mhm.
and then
Right,
it was
Right,
pretty
right,
much
right.
defined that the group dwelling did not fit well with the local state
Oh.
or
Yeah, with the,
Right.
the
I
zoning
did hear
stuff.
about that.
And
right.
so that gave them the reason to do an alternate means to satisfy, which is the fee and low.
Right.
which-
So as this zoning thing, and so, that's now done.
Mhm.
And so the question, I had some questions, is there more land that's group dwelling,
there is, right?
where there's gonna be
Right.
another one of these?
Right.
there is land, there's a few more parcels in the PB4 district, so 2 more parcels there, and then group dwellings are also allowed in the institutional zone. And while most of that is owned by the town or Yukon, there are like the Hillel property, has,
Yeah.
So,
Or what's the difference between institutional and PV4? The kind of, like you build assisted living or something in these? What is the? difference?
well, it's just institutional, they have, I mean, it's primarily government institutions, but there are, but you are allowed to do group dwellings in that institutional
Like
zone.
another private dormitory?
You mean like
Okay.
So I-
behind Hillel, that
That
grass
Hillel, there's a bunch of land that,
right behind it.
Yeah.
They could develop,
Yep.
they own it.
What's
could sell it.
Mansfield Training School property?
Mansfield Senior School, that's institutional, but
That's
that's
under-
owned by Yukon right now, and so the
Right,
town
so
has
they
no
could-
It's
jurisdiction.
not privately
They
owned,
wanted
right?
to-
Yeah.
it's private.
So this,
so my question was then, do we not worry about it, or do we say, well, this could happen again, so we should take some action to prevent what happened here? Is it worth our time and energy?
Well, I think it gets back to the fee and lieu
Right,
and looking at that. And I think the planning is, the Planning and Zoning Commission is open to looking at that. And I think probably in the short term, there's probably gonna be some sort of quick fix to that. Either
to what the,
fee and lieu. I think it'll
Right.
either be removing it altogether, not allowing it,
I could vote for that.
or
we have a
or
motion.
raising. Yeah.
We did.
Or
We
raise.
did.
I mean,
But they helped-
No, I don't think you need to say, I think I think the planning and zoning, the chair of the Planning and Zoning Commission fully understands that it's grossly too low, that fee and lieu is too low. I think that they're open to changing it. It's, the devil is always in the details in life, right?
Right.
So,
So this
and-
is a complicated thing, there's
Right.
lots of factors and people look at it different ways,
right,
and we're all working toward the same thing, toward
Yeah.
the good of the citizens
More
of
money.
Mansfield and Connecticut.
To boil it
and
down,
the
more
United
money
States.
from,
Yeah.
So,
so TBD, it's gonna change that so from affordable housing, that will change, and that could change as close as near as December 20th.
okay, so we won't tackle that, but my other question, I know other people do, I apologize for going on here. We're gonna they're gonna apply the fact that there's 0 affordable houses there, that goes to our deficit and,
It
Yeah.
does,
okay, and there's no way to fix that because we have the fee and loan.
right, but if you look at where we are, if I did send out, I didn't bring enough copies, but
I have one.
I have one.
So basically I sent out a couple iterations of this because, so basically, right now, we're at 125, we're getting 1,261 units, and we're at 125 affordable units and like $5 million in fee and lieu. So,
Right,
because thank goodness we changed it from 10 to 15%, right? That was really good. And again, that was a quick, quick get it in, right? Because we knew what was coming down the pipeline. So, we're not as far back as we think. We're holding water. We're not ahead.
we have gained 0.02%.
Yeah, we've gained 0.2,
After authorizing,
1,261.
yeah, we have gained,
Yeah.
but our percentage of affordable housing has gone from 6.3% to 6.32%.
but we know the
That's
15% is a slow road.
But at that rate, we will be reaching 10%.
I won't be here.
So one of the things that I think that the
We know that's
city
a slow road,
could look at
so
is
we
in
have to
2020.
look at places that are 100% affordable.
If I may just continue for a minute, if we get another one of these PB4 rulings.
Yeah.
Before we fix this, we will have gone backwards.
Yep.
So the problem is one of the problems that Mike hasn't identified yet is that the state doesn't give us credit, doesn't allow us to accommodate this bizarre thing. And if we can get them at the state level to say, look, when you build a group when you grant group dwelling status and you take a fee, you don't have to count it against your
Right,
numbers.
right.
They
It's
give
like
us
a
lot-
hotel, but
Yeah.
your hotel, you don't have to.
Right, so if they were to,
I know,
if the state
it's- yeah.
ordinance, a statute accommodate us there.
This is the Greg-
Wouldn't be so
Greg
bad.
Haddad May Flexer thing.
And Pat Boyd thing.
Yeah, Pat Boyd, correct.
Do we want to pursue that, or is it appropriate for us to?
I
pursue
think
it?
that's something that you wanted, because the committees, the rules and regulations is that only the council should speak for the
Right.
town. So that is something could be included in your presentation to state that you
Ask
strongly,
three? Third ask,
well, that's in your presentation. It doesn't have to be
no,
that, that you strongly recommend that the council talk with our state
right,
reps and our legislators to see if this can be fixed, because seems silly.
Is there any rule that says we can't talk to them individually on our own behalf?
Correct, you can, but
So-
you should need to disclose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So
I
I could go see Pat Boyd, who just happens to be my rep now. and say,
Oh,
"Pat,"
okay.
Yeah, they put me in his district. now.
I don't know, that the district's so strange.
Yeah, it is.
I am sorry that I have to go on your
No,
group
that's
meetings.
okay. Thank you.
It's very helpful.
We'll be in touch, and I think probably Michael and I just need to probably speak with someone before the 27th about
Yes,
that.
definitely.
Yeah, so. Thank you. And
Don't we have, we don't have another meeting before that.
no.
the next step for you guys will be for you guys to put in your minutes that you all attended, and that then the committee and committees will interview
Committee
you,
on
and
committees,
committee
I love
on
that.
committees.
Yeah.
So I have an extra copy of this. if
Yeah,
you would like
Thank
to.
you.
We can, do we need to, like, would it help for us to forward an endorsement to the committee on the committees?
Are we supposed to?
Did we
I
already
think
do
that-
that?
To be long, no,
No,
they
if you
completed the
just, if you want to
application.
put something in
One
your
step.
minutes saying that that you met with them, and if you want to endorse them, that and then that can be in your minutes, and I can forward it right on to
Okay.
Sarah Ann.
We didn't object to them, certain
Do we go out and take a vote?
minimal standard.
No, just block your ears. Yeah, block your ears, yeah.
Did you have a question?
I was just wondering procedurally how we do that.
Make a motion.
You can just go back and add a motion to this item when they were.
Yeah, or I move that our minutes include our at least informal endorsement of our two new prospective members.
I'll second that.
Okay.
I'm in favor.
Okay,
All in favor?
favor?
Aye,
Aye,
congratulations.
yeah, you're in.
I'll get to work.
Yeah.
Yeah, go to work.
Okay, we're jumping around quite a bit.
You can.
So on the hub, there's the two issues. There's the fee and lieu and changing things.
Yeah.
The fee and lieu, we haven't talked about, but it's sort of in flux. Everyone's talking about how to fix it, and we're getting different ideas, so we can talk about that. It does sound like we want to recommend to the town council that they talk to our representatives to fix this.
About,
And that's
Adjusting.
specifically on the 27th.
yes.
Yeah,
okay.
Do we need to better articulate the problem? Because with the town council members, I mean, I'm not even sure that I could follow some of the problems that arose during that hearing, but it seemed to me be hard for the council members to talk to Greg Haddad or Mike Boyd or
So
anyone without
I
knowing the background.
watched and what the chair of the planning and zoning said was the group dwelling, in quotes, the group dwelling used proved too difficult to comply with local, state, and federal requirements.
But by accepting the fee in lieu, all of they claimed that they couldn't set aside the 15% of the units because they didn't have a way to calculate, to fix the rent for 4 individual people, and it got complicated. But the state still counts their units against us. So they count against us, but we can't claim them as part of the 15%, which is, in my mind, inherently unfair to the town. that we're trying to build our affordable
So
housing.
it's basically going into this presentation.
Yeah, I
We
guess
have
so,
to
but it's gonna
raise
have
the
to
issue,
be,
so we have to insert.
it's
a
gonna have to
slide.
be articulated in a
Right.
way that
And I
it's easy to
think-
comprehend.
Right. So we have to add that
Yeah,
new slide.
I'm wondering if can we do it in a slide, or are we gonna have to talk it up after we put it on the slide?
We'll see. I mean, I'm assuming they're gonna interrupt us.
Okay.
So
Oops.
I think that's a good action on this. And it's right around the corner, so that's good.
So we gotta add the State Department of Housing issue sign.
So the under old business 4A. We had communication to the PZC Regulatory Review Committee about the fee in lieu. So there's been all this discussion going on about the fee in lieu. And different people have different approaches to this. We had one approach, Paul Aho is talking about a different approach. People are talking about getting rid of it altogether. So it's completely in flux. So at this point, I don't think going to this meeting is going to be helpful.
Which meeting you're talking about?
The one on the 14th.
Oh, yeah,
regulatory
because they're not ready to
review.
hear us apparently.
Right, and I think this is good because we're debating this. Everyone wants to fix it, but no one's absolutely sure the answer.
How to do it.
And we're getting better feels for it. I mean, the work that was done by this committee gives us some sense of cost pretty well, which is helpful. Paul was looking at this and he wasn't aware of the ICC
Which
evaluation.
strikes me as unfortunate because he's the one who put it into place. If I'm not
Yeah,
mistaken.
but I think that was used probably because it's a standard. But you say, okay, let's use the standard, but you don't actually look at the numbers.
And
then you
they
use
don't
the
believe it's a
numbers
good
and
number.
you
They
go.
don't believe it's a good standard, apparently.
Right. So that's history. But I think this issue is pretty complicated. So the fact that there's all this stuff going on now is good. It's healthy. It has to resolve though. That's the-
And if we can get everyone to participate fully.
Right,
And there can be if they're willing to listen to other than their own ideas.
right.
So
And
we're
I
hearing
think, whatever goes forward, we're gonna have to write our recommendation on that, whether we agree with it or not. So we're-
right. Well, of course, we've already written one recommendation
Right.
that hasn't gotten to them yet
Well,
for some reason.
I think because it is a difficult issue and people want to keep it simple. But at the same time, get a good number, but getting a good number is a hard thing to pin down. Because.
Right. It is a
So-
hard thing to pin down.
I consider this progress on a difficult subject,
Well,
and that's what this looks like.
we've already-
Progress on a difficult subject looks like,
we've already accomplished one thing, which is that we've got them to agree
yes,
that the number is way too low. Which
Right.
a year ago was not the case. A year ago, that was like manna from heaven.
Yeah. Money from heaven, yeah.
good. So I'm gonna close that and move on to new business, 5C, the draft. The presentation,
Okay,
oh,
there it is. I've got the minutes right here.
So 11/27, I don't know when our new members will be, but we
No,
can
we
fix that
can, that can
easy.
be fixed easily.
Apparently, I'm not using official Mansfield green and blue on this. Dorothy laughs, I call that laugh.
That's
Uh,
official.
Well, yeah, it's all from the logo there, you see.
I'm not very good at PowerPoint, so.
No.
But
You did.
Okay. go to the next slide. I think the idea here was provide some background and then talk about our accomplishments to date, which came right out of the annual report. And then where we went ahead, which came out of our annual
These are.
report.
These above there is a quote from
Which I think captures things really nice.
Yeah.
or on computer.
I
Hardly,
really
I'm
like
an
that
editor,
quote.
so this is the stuff I do.
So if you guys will just go through these slowly, if you have comments or suggestions, just
Where's the flash right? Oh, here it is. Okay.
yell them out.
Tell me when you
Thank
want me to
you.
move to the next slide. Now,
And so there's the opportunity to be state leader, okay.
well, you know, I've been thinking about that. This should be a win. There's been a lot of developments in affordable housing in the cities,
right,
a lot.
Mhm.
New Haven,
Yeah.
Hartford,
Yeah.
Waterbury, Bridgeport.
right, but in rural northeastern Connecticut or eastern Connecticut, where there's virtually no infrastructure for multifamily construction, there has not been much at all. I mean, how many affordable units are in Chaplin? Or picking that name, you know, or Coventry, or
Right.
they don't have infrastructure. How do you build it without a sewer system, you know? So this is where I think we are breaking
Yeah.
some ground here.
so I've been in occasional contact with Beth Sabina, who is director of the Connecticut, or the Center for Housing Equity and Opportunity, which is a center at Connecticut College. We went to the.
So
launch
she's the old,
meeting.
the former mayor of Waterford.
Right, but they're looking at all of eastern Connecticut. And when I talked to her, she said, oh, Mansfield's doing a great job. So she's looking at all the towns on eastern Connecticut, and she said, we're doing good work here, so that's encouraging.
Great.
So this is just a summary of our status. I used stuff from the Affordable Housing Plan. Paul recommended updating that with the new stuff, like the material that Jen shared tonight.
Yeah, well,
or
these are all,
table.
yeah, we should probably add that as a slide, right?
Yeah,
I don't know, I
so
can't do
that's
that right here.
from 2021. Affordable housing, these are just the numbers there.
This slide is probably more telling. You're, are you aware of it, the colloquially known as 830G? 830G is a state statute that says that any town that doesn't have at least 10% affordable housing can be in effect, their zoning laws can be ignored by developers who build projects containing more than, I think it's 30% of affordable units. It hasn't, it's been an issue in some places like Stamford and down there, but it's not around here yet. Or may never be, because who's gonna build a building with around here that would qualify for a 830G exemption? But the bottom line is we're trying to reach 10% affordable housing, because then our town becomes exempt from 830G and we have control over our own destiny then.
I don't think you need the first two bullets.
Yeah. I was
Because
all-
Mansfield housing, affordable housing status, we currently have 6,700, right, 17 units. 397 of them are affordable, which brings our percentage to 6%.
Maybe you're right.
That's good.
I have approval to delete those.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, no, don't ask me. I was being redundant because I was just cutting and
Look at
pasting
that.
a
How much
lot
better.
of stuff at this point. I don't think I did anything original.
Well,
here,
PowerPoint
except
slides are, you know,
The colors.
Well,
So we want to add this also, right?
yes, that's one that wants to go in as a whole chart.
Right.
Yeah,
So that will be inserted here.
Yeah.
If you want to put a blank in there. I will know to add it, where to add
How do I
it.
do that?
Just say it.
New slide.
New slide, yeah, it should go in the right place. All right, can you right click over there? On the left side there,
you just do blank.
do a right click
Just do
over
blank.
there.
Yeah, there you go.
Blank, that's good.
Did I put it in the
And
right
then you
place?
can slide
Looks
it
like
up.
I did.
Yeah.
Oh, I can do it already. Where are we now? This is one.
Mhm.
Now, yeah, I'm in the right place. Look at that, magic.
Okay. this is all. These were the numbers.
I don't think you should ever put a question in a bullet.
Well, because it isn't.
Well,
In this
but-
case, the answer is no.
But really, you're just stating facts on the slide, right? So,
Yes, okay. Mike, what do you say about that?
I'm fine. You guys-
Okay. The whole part of my recent thinking after the hub decision, which basically erased all the effectively erased all the progress we've made toward 10% in one decision, wiped out everything we had said made happen before. Causes me to think realistically, do we even need to worry about this reaching this 10% thing? We're probably never going to reach 10%. The numbers that we'd have, as you can see in the next unit, the numbers of houses, units that would have to be built in this town in order to achieve 10% is like crazy big.
so I would change that next one. You just have to be more precise.
I'm sorry.
Oh, the
Right,
last
you
one
don't-
with the arrow,
You don't need to
I
say
didn't
like using
count
the
on that.
current state number is really,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah,
What you're
right.
saying is to reach 15%,
need
we
to-
currently need to build 4,100.
Well, in
Right?
fact, these numbers are no longer true because
Like, because you're using just soft language, right? Using the current state number, really, it's just,
well,
it really, these, that you could do a sub, like two bullets underneath that, at least 15% affordable units, right? To reach, right? So the first bullet underneath that
so
really
you want to
is-
start it off as we would need,
Yeah, or,
and then
yeah,
add the.
well, but only under the 15% rule would this be true. So we need to say it's the part, a result of applying the 15%.
Yeah, I'm good with that.
Yeah, I understand.
How do you like that, Gina?
Mhm.
Using our 15% affordable rule, we would need to go.
we need to build. It's not, we
No, we-
would
Right, you
need,
don't
Yeah,
need
we
to-
need-
we,
We
delete
need-
would.
Well, we don't need the word would.
yeah.
Should we say using only our 15%?
Or
Because-
using the, I don't know, it's our, it's
Right,
using
the-
the
I'm sorry.
15%.
Well, it's
But
not
but
a
it's-
state rule, it's a
That's
town
an
rule.
Well,
only
it's the,
thing.
but
so
it's not a
just the town,
person.
right?
Well, no, but it's the town's rule. I think ours is the appropriate word there.
Shouldn't
not
that,
ours,
shouldn't
that's
there be
not
an
ours.
only in there? Because we're only using that to generate our houses.
Yeah, using the town's rule, it's not our rule.
You can say using the town's.
All right, well, this is all very
Using the
hypothetical in the
town's
sense that
15%.
it's never gonna play out this cleanly because.
Yeah, there you go.
Because we're gonna be, part of our thinking here, if I'm not mistaken, is that by getting money, all this housing trust fund money, we'll be able to build projects that have a much higher percentage of affordable housing than the 15%. I mean, Eagleville Green is 43 total units, 34 of which are affordable. You know, the majority of them are affordable, and if we can get that kind of housing built, then we don't have to build so many
Yeah,
units to get
Right.
that, you know.
So that's what this says. It says,
Yeah.
the next one says if we only build affordable, then we only need 227. The actual solution will be somewhere in between.
Yeah, of course, now that number has gone higher because of the hub,
Right.
because the hub added 450 units to the denominator.
So we have to check that error statement at the end. Because I didn't put Eagleville Green in there.
All right, we want to work that one over. The last four high density, which would be Eagleville, Standard, Middle
Right.
Turnpike, Villages of Four Corners and the
Right.
hub. But Eagleville Green
But
is.
we're gonna add that. We're gonna add the other slide that shows this information.
Yeah,
yeah.
So let's
I don't
just
think you
delete
need
that
Yeah,
sentence.
okay.
Let's get rid of it. I mean, the
because
less.
really what this slide, you know, if you think about. I just have to do this for the faculty AUP annual meeting, but really like when you look at the slide and you say Mansfield affordable housing status, what I'm seeing from this slide is for us to reach our 15%, this is what we need
What we have
to
to
do,
do.
right? Like, so it's almost like you wanna
Right,
put what that top thing is.
You know-
To reach 15%. And then you can just
Yeah.
say, here's how, these are
Yeah,
the current.
that's nice and clean. Good.
I do a lot of PowerPoints, unfortunately.
Oh. Point A.
I volunteer to give a lot of input. Yeah.
Actually, it's 10%. We're trying to reach 10%, the
Are you a
stable,
professor?
right?
No, I work with the faculty.
Reaching the.
Oh,
Yeah, the state 10%.
Yeah, because this can get
Are you a
confusing
member?
with
I
lots
just
of
work-
percents and
No,
numbers
I-
floating around.
In 2020.
And where you were at uni.
No.
Awesome.
Worcester.
Hey, we go to the next one.
All right, just for the record though, now this isn't,
You should just give it a little bit. more
this
space.
third bullet
Yes.
is gonna be changed by, because the denominator just got 450 units bigger.
Right, so
So
that's,
our numerator needs
I
to get bigger.
was just working off the affordable housing plan because it was there and it was static. It
Yeah,
wasn't moving all
I
over the
understand.
place.
But I was also gonna suggest that if we're gonna put this chart in the sequence, I think it should go after this slide. Cause
Yeah,
this
this
explains the
validates, yeah.
the 10% thing. So this, can I just move this by doing that? Look at that.
Look
Wow.
at that.
All
Snazzy.
right,
So do we want to say, okay, this was, I think up in the beginning, we said these are the numbers on the affordable housing plan, and this is the recent development.
Right,
And you can see we're basically breaking. even.
yeah. Well, we made some progress for a while.
It's
Okay,
just like
so
a
that's
grade in
good.
a class. It's easy to go down. It's much harder. to
Yes,
go
that's
up.
right.
Good.
Okay, all right, so that
Okay.
takes us to this.
So these are right out of our annual report, and the next one, I think is also, right?
Yeah.
I think I may have cut them down a little bit.
Just-
So
yeah,
these are pretty wordy. I don't
Yeah,
know
you
if
use
we
a
wanna
lot of
Edit
words.
it down.
Mhm.
I was happy just to get them into the slides for tonight.
Well, they can become your talking points.
well, and they
right?
should.
Yeah,
Right,
I mean, that's part of this. This is gonna be in a packet to them. So
Right.
if they're not really that there's two ways of
That's
looking
right.
at it. Like, if they're not really listening, they'll read.
They'll read.
yeah.
Right? So
or
I think, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And this is sort of to be a starting point for us to,
and actually, it's our first year accomplishment, so we want it to be really
Robust.
yeah.
like busy and
Oh, we
dense.
could say
and-
we grew our committee. Oh, did we grow? No.
Not yet, we haven't grown. We shrunk it.
Oh,
so
that's
far.
true. We shrunk and then we came back.
Maybe that fourth bullet, all the other bullets start with a verb, which bullet should start with?
Drafted, yes, you're right.
Change.
Parallel construction.
Yeah. Maybe that second sentence should come first where you say, recommended, and then maybe put. the
Sorry.
numbers.
You're right, you're
The
absolutely right
sentences
about
of
that. Yeah, she's right. That,
Oh, and put a period at the end of the sentence.
okay, we have second word person on this, hanging around.
And actually with bullets, it's all semicolons, and then
Yes.
the one before the last one, you put semicolon and the last one has a period. If you wanted to be that.
It's always been terrible.
Did it go in?
No,
No,
Crap.
so we. What
Yeah, that
department,
we
what,
wanted that
were you in
recommend.
English too?
Just
On the dot, the right click in.
Yeah.
It's, and doing PowerPoints and.
Yeah.
That's all paste.
you have an undo button at the top.
Yeah, see the,
See, you can undo it. Up at
see up on the top left.
the top right here to save. Up, up, up.
No, up,
Up, the
Oh, I
back
see.
arrow, the back
The
arrow.
other one.
no.
Is that gonna undo the whole
Thank
thing
you.
or just,
it's just
No,
the last
it's the
thing.
just the last thing? It's a control Z?
Trying to
Oh,
undo
look, one more
again.
time.
There you go.
Okay, oh, I know I didn't, I know what happened. Okay, never mind. Control,
See,
is the control button not working? Cause I did control. X, which will cut it out of there, but I'll do a Control C. And I'll paste it.
Yeah.
With Control V. And it should work. There it goes. Okay, now I have to take out the, oh, it took it, oh, it moved it
No, it's not
automatically.
this
Look at
way.
that.
It doesn't start.
That didn't move,
No,
nothing
I
happened, all
think
right.
you cut the wrong one. Cut and paste. Wrong sentence.
This is what I cut, or attempted to cut.
Right, you want to cut that and paste it before zoning regulations.
Right. I'm gonna go up here to do the cut.
Mhm.
I think,
Mhm,
that's a cut. Okay,
Now click and bring it up there. In front of the Z. Mhm. Whoops.
oh, we got another bullet out of the deal. I can fix that, I think. Get rid of that.
We never approved our minutes, did we?
No, we can
Yeah,
still
we-
do that.
Looking at what we did.
This is making me crazy here.
You don't need to say we, just start with recommended like. we did.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes, that's true.
I need to get the Z back in there. And then take out the last line.
So that's going to the thumb drive?
I don't know, I think so. We're gonna-
Okay.
You just repeated.
Okay.
So this all goes out. One thing we're losing here by observing that the fee in lieu is too low. I don't. I'm gonna take it all out. We can tinker with it some more later. Yeah. Did I kill another bullet by accident? Yeah, I need another bullet here.
We're gonna just take out the.
Where's the we?
The fourth bullet. You don't want to start it with we, just go recommended.
Recommended.
Oh, this one up here, I see.
Now we have you have both. Do you need it on in front
Yeah.
of the
it's
zoning?
another
Now you've got
bullet,
it
too.
redundant again. You're saying the same thing.
Right.
Oh, I see. So we take this one out.
Yeah.
Save it.
Okay. That was painful. All right,
This one is again directly out of annual report. I don't know if we can combine the first two bullets. Identify and evaluate town facilities and town.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, town facilities. Town land.
I don't even know if we need the second town owned. It's all town owned.
Yeah.
Take this one out.
Yeah.
Evaluate.
Are we only looking at town facilities?
Well, we don't have control over it. We don't even have control over the town land.
I
We
know.
have less over the private land. That's what RFPs are all about. Someone in theory comes to us and says, I've got this developer in this chunk of land here. Well,
But he needs money, so.
yeah, but I will also say that it wouldn't be a bad idea for us to be able to identify the properties that are suitable for this kind of housing.
Yeah.
For instance, that have the
That's
correct
sewer.
infrastructure and,
Yeah, yeah.
you know, water and like the Capstone property that, for instance, that the Yukon bought at the last minute there,
Yeah,
that kind of thing.
And your last bullet, you can start with just examine.
Yeah,
I don't know, what do people think? That's an awful lot of text for people to look at.
Yeah.
Well, they've also got this in, you're right,
Oh.
but they've also got this in a written format.
Okay,
I think for our purposes, we put it up there and that gives us a chance to talk to them about these things. We don't have to keep looking down at our notes.
yes, right.
Do we need the second bullet,
Yeah.
so-called or so-called? To
Well,
put-
okay, we can put it in quotes. Middle housing has become a weird, politically charged term, actually.
Yeah,
That's all right.
so. Jennifer recommended we do 3 asks. Do we want to put those on a slide? Or do we just do them verbally?
I would.
I think they should be on the slide.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
the whole justification, if we're putting words that, then it's in writing to them.
This whole thing's gonna have to be
Right.
modified. Doing it on the fly here is not a good way to go.
No. So we have to add that in. I think Jennifer's to read it. So.
Yeah,
So I'll just make a note and asks. Slide,
calls for action.
and we gotta add the other slide and then everything else is edited.
Yeah,
So that's excellent. We have 15 minutes. I will be respectful of everyone's time. Anything else on this? Oh, one
I
thing
was
will be, how do we want to execute this presentation? Oh, I'm sorry.
That's a good one. I was just gonna say, in that third bullet, you can take out also and just say advise. The less wordy we can make things, the better. Just delete those
Right.
unnecessary words.
And you can save the capital A.
Mm-hmm.
Oh. Good. Okay, so you want to save that? And it's gonna go somewhere.
and it's-
I
hopefully it'll go to the thumb drive.
think it's on the thumb drive.
yeah, is that what that, yeah, that's on the thumb drive.
Can you save it with the thumb drive?
I can look and see where it's gonna go, do a save as and see where it's gonna go. Current folder.
So this is on the 27th, which is what?
Monday.
I think it's Monday.
Yeah. 7 o'clock,
And 7th.
yeah.
So the question is, how do we give the presentation? I think if more people of the committee is there, first of all, is there any format for this or I was thinking if there's more people from the committee and if different people. from the
Yeah, they should
Committee
see, yeah,
talk,
they should see all of
it
us.
shows
Yeah,
us.
we all should
as
show
a-
up.
Yeah.
I agree. Yeah, we all
Will
should
we
show up.
be approved by then?
Yeah, if we're approved, Martina, I will be there.
Next time
We
council-
could go there as concerned citizens.
Yeah, you could go as concerned citizens.
There's, if you're approved. At the next town council meeting,
Well, you have to do the committee of
You
committee.
gotta go to
Correct,
committee or
committee.
committee.
you haven't been there yet?
Not yet. they haven't.
It's gonna take a while then, it might take 2 meetings, you may not be appointed officially by then.
But you're welcome to join.
Yeah,
us.
sure, and more than
Nothing to say.
strength in
How are
numbers.
we
right?
all be
going?
helpful?
Yeah.
Well, if you're available, I was gonna say. Put that date on your calendar
Mhm.
and if you're available,
What time?
7.
Well, the meeting starts at 7. I don't know where we're gonna be.
Yeah.
on the agenda.
Ah,
Well, they'll probably,
If you show up, though, they'll let you come.
they'll
early.
probably put us up early
I
because,
hope so.
you know, because they don't wanna sit in there for the whole meeting, you know,
Yeah,
taking up space.
so put it on your calendars and then as the date
Okay.
approaches, we'll. Find out who can attend
Yeah, sure.
and I
Oh.
think. We'll just divide the slide deck up.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Does that sound
should
good?
we make little gingerbread house cookies?
You ought to bring a
With
cat
like the
brought it.
number of
Volunteer.
like that we need. 676.
I think it should be divided between you 3.
Mhm.
I don't.
Oh, I
To
don't
make
need
it so
I
it's,
think,
I don't need to talk.
I don't, huh? Who, I mean, I think you said you wanted to divide it up.
I think you two do an excellent job.
Absolutely, I
Right.
agree 100%.
Okay,
All right, we'll just. break it down.
I'm just opening the floor up for
Oh.
ideas.
Oh, okay.
And
So
I
I
think
think-
Will's
I'm-
saying you do a great job.
Yeah, I just want, maybe.
Yeah, you let us shoot our mouths off and we just sit
Yeah,
back and pick up some pieces.
yeah, you know,
I'd be fine to listen and like take notes, and if we
Sure.
miss anything, then I could just
Yeah.
say, oh, can I add it? And at the end.
I'll just sit here and call you chief, and all that good stuff, you know.
Hefe. Oh, Hefe.
Good,
To
okay.
that
So
point,
it's-
I think that, I'm sorry,
No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, when you present to town council, I would just have Gina at the table, you know.
Yeah, well, we could all be at the
With,
table.
the table, I think the
Well,
whole.
yeah.
Yeah, and the sound system.
How
is
about
such that
just
if the mic is-
introductions?
Yeah, that would be good.
So that
Oh, just in
shows,
case I
it
speak.
shows,
Yeah.
Yeah, we should all be at the table.
Yeah.
and then
Introduce
Paul and I
ourselves
can tag
Yeah,
team on the
yeah,
presentation.
Now, don't forget,
Does that
is Sheila
sound
gonna
good?
be at this too?
Yeah, I just.
Sheila may want to talk.
Oh,
uh,
she can have my slide.
Yeah.
Who, Sheila?
I'm just saying.
Yes, yeah, Sheila may want to be there.
Yeah,
Okay.
name's Sheila.
That's right.
I'm
Yeah.
just saying, don't be, I'm just saying, don't have Gina sitting like
Oh,
behind, have her.
And that, you know, their
That way
sound
you
system's not that good. That mic
Yeah, yeah.
doesn't pick up. You
No.
get 1 inch off and they can't hear you anymore.
I know the time I did,
I mean,
it,
she
I had to
basically
pull the mic over.
on her road to back.
I couldn't do it, I mean.
Okay, so we'll work that out, but as many people as can attend as possible, that's great.
So Martina.
Everyone will
Angelo is-
introduce
Yes.
themselves,
Yeah.
Yeah,
and then a subset will present. And we'll figure that out later. After the slides are done.
Okay,
Awesome.
I think the slides, and I think it's great to have the slides, you know, available in the packet.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So we'll get them to you on time. When do you need them?
So if you're doing it the 26th.
27.
27.
I cannot remember that date for nothing. You wanna get it the week of the 20th. And remember that's Thanksgiving.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
So-
oh, yeah.
Oh, well, we don't have much work.
Yeah,
no, it's just an hour of.
Yeah,
yeah. So you may
So the
wanna
bulk's
even
done.
reach out to Jennifer the 16th, just to make, you know.
Yeah, because I'm going away for Thanksgiving, so.
Yeah.
We can do this. Good, excellent. So there's a couple items left. We only have a couple minutes. I wrote,
Do you wanna approve the minutes real quick?
yeah.
I move that we approve last week's
Second.
meeting.
All
In favor.
in favor?
I,
Aye. Opposed? None. Good.
Will and I have a.
I got it down.
system.
Jennifer asked us, item 5D, the criterion for using affordable housing trust fund, our priorities. That I said we approved them, but she wanted us to approve them again, I think. So I'm waiting for a motion from somebody.
where
move it.
where am I?
For 5D,
5D,
it's reapproving our priorities.
okay, I move we approve our priority.
I second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Oh, no, I was gonna, I'm a little, Item E, targets of opportunity, we're not gonna cover these because we don't have time, but let me say what they are.
Thank you.
They are. These, exactly what's up there are future directions, and they're also pulled from the original. Affordable housing plan. There's a list of strategies, so what I'm looking at here, I don't know if targets opportunity is a good term, but stuck. They're really strategies taken from those two sources to do affordable housing stuff, and each one of them is gonna be a complex issue. It's gonna be like the field.
This is
And-
this is on the website, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
This is, Martina, this is.
Yeah, it's
this
very
is the
good.
Affordable housing.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
We have
can,
time.
I think that's on the website.
Yeah.
Okay, good. I'll make a copy of it too. Thank you.
Okay,
so sort of my question is. How do we tackle these things? I see well, we have strategies, but if we had something to apply it to, like a piece of land or a housing complex that exists, and we'd say, okay, let's do this. But I feel like we need to understand all these things.
Would it
So
make,
what comes first, the opportunity or the strategy? That's my
well,
question.
that's a good
Because
question.
if Jen was here, she'd say, oh, there's an opportunity here.
Well,
Develop the strategy, strategy to meet the
Right.
opportunity,
if we're gonna be
put it in action.
getting clearance from the council to issue RFPs,
Right.
we should not hold up. We should just do that. And if something comes into our lap, then we deal with that
Be ready to-
while we figure out what else we should be doing.
Right,
We don't even know, it's one of the, we don't even know where we could put housing if we had the money or the ability. And so I'm thinking it would be nice if we had inventory, if for lack of better words, a map or something that showed us
Right.
where housing could go. This is part of the
Yeah.
reason we want to write to OPM about the
right,
Yukon land.
which is in our list.
Yeah,
So maybe this is sort of academic, but I was thinking of sending this around to everybody with numbers on them. Everyone pick their top 3 strategies. And we see which ones people want to talk about. And we start getting acquainted with these things and start talking about them. I mean, which ones rise to the top? Because there's tons of good ideas in there.
yeah.
But they're all pretty big topics.
And some of them are gonna take a long time and some of them.
But I think we sort of, I would like, I don't know, you guys tell me what you think. 'Cause I make up the next agenda and we can talk about these things
Well,
without having a target, or we can tell,
there,
ask Jen if she can give us some targets and then.
I don't know if I'm the only one who doesn't fully understand. I just want to throw, you're with me. I think going back to, and I understanding, because there's so many different zones in town. This goes to a piece of what you were saying earlier around like how many more are in that specific zone. But like, it's almost like, and I know that they have different zones, but like all the property around where I live is for sale to be developed.
what kind of property is it? Is it RAR 90 or?
I
is it-
See, we don't
know.
know, that's the whole thing.
I wonder if that would be helpful.
Yeah,
Right, because all of the land, I live on Puddin, right, so we have Puddin City, and then behind us, it's between Covenantville and all of that has sewer and water and, like, I'm like,
and
oh.
isn't that the thing, the part of the property that the moratorium is in effect on? Because there's that whole area
Yes,
down there by the
yes,
shopping
yes,
center
yeah,
that's got this big moratorium and I think that's what they're
Mansfield
thinking, they
City
can make
Road.
that in small lot residential or middle housing or
So
something.
are you saying identify
No,
land
I
and
think,
facilities
I
first?
think all of us having an understanding of the makeup
Of
of
the
our
zones,
town.
yeah.
So now-
But almost like-
The zoning
Zoning.
areas.
Yeah, and like have someone talk us through, is that too rudimentary? Is it something I should already know?
I
But-
don't,
and
I don't,
I don't even understand.
Well, there must be a
Go to
zoning
the,
map that
the-
has all the
Yes.
different.
yeah,
There
there's a
is, and
zoning
I've been,
map.
yes, if you go online, you can also see it,
Okay.
but I was like, it's also like, if it's just not.
well, this sort of
complicated.
goes to my concern about an inventory of land
Yeah.
and places
Right,
where it could actually go. Jen could probably work that out for us.
yeah, I
Or
think
someone
that's
like, you
a
know.
really good idea.
Like,
But, so my point is like, if you look at these things, there's all kinds of great ideas. Purchasing deed restrictions for existing naturally occurring affordable housing units. These
What are you
units would
looking
then be, it's in the targets of opportunity. I'm just pulling one out. These units would then be protected for a period of at least 40 years. So we go and find places and
I don't know where he's at.
they're not
Well,
official.
we would have to put out some sort of advertisement or something, a public
Right.
announcement. We're looking to buy you, you're a property owner, we're looking to buy your, a deed restriction or pay you to take a deed restriction, what it amounts to.
But that's,
But we'd have to allocate money for that, and it's a complicated process.
that's the 40 years. Same thing. How much are they losing?
Right, well, if I own a rental house that I rent to students now, and And I make much more money renting that thing to students than I would to a family.
Mhm.
But there's all kinds of good ideas in here and I want to start like evaluating them and applying them, but it's so big, I don't know how to tackle that.
Well, maybe we could have a topic of the month.
Topic of the month, I like that.
That'll last us through June already.
So but I think this first one, the inventory is a good idea.
Yeah, that's. what I
People like that.
Yeah.
I was actually, well,
And I think our letter to the OPM could come under that category.
yes,
Well, the Office of Personnel Management,
Oh,
State
okay.
Office of
Mhm.
Personnel Management
Mhm.
is required by state statute to perform an
Okay.
inventory of state lands and where affordable housing. should be.
so I think if we get this onto the next meeting, along with everything else we're doing, we're gonna have a full meeting.
I'll say.
Okay, good. So that's all I needed from that. Let's see, any other discussion? Under the communications, I wanted to point one thing out. That's item 7 and B and C. So this is that group I mentioned before, the Center for Housing Equity and Opportunity. So they're going around and rating all the towns' affordable housing plans. And they've done these 2 counties, and I haven't seen ours yet. So I'm waiting to see that.
Did they do New London already? Cause I think.
Yeah.
I think we had a story about New London's plan.
Yeah, so they did New London's. Yes, I saw that story.
Yeah, so
I
I
think that's where this pointer goes to. It's
Mhm.
Connecticut Mirror.
yeah, that's Ginny Monk. Yeah,
Yeah.
she's our.
Yes. Excellent. Oh, we didn't talk about 2024 meeting calendar,
We should probably do
but
that.
Yeah.
it's the same as what we're doing now,
Okay.
which is what, the first Thursday of the month?
That works for me.
I vote we approve.
I second the motion.
All in favor?
I,
Aye. Opposed? Awesome. Did we miss anything? Our next meeting's December 7th. That'll be our 1-year anniversary. We have to do something special.
Yeah.
There's only one item left on the agenda. I need a motion to adjourn.
I'm not making that.
I move we adjourn.
I second.
You just say.
Excellent work, everybody. Thank you.
Yeah, very
Thank you.
interesting.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
So nice to meet both of you.
Yeah.
I wanted to show you what I bought. Oh,
Uh,
I don't know if you're grateful,
Did you,
but so.
did you bring it?
Thank you.
Her guest book.
We have to recover.
Isn't that a neat idea?
No,
Sorry?
where is that?
And there's gonna have a. Grateful
What
Dead
do you want me to
at the
do?
bottom.
I think I got a copy I can give you.
Oh.
That had-
Yeah.
There's the hub on.
Yeah, and then
By
I,
exit, will that do it?
I realized if.
You know what
this
a hub is
doesn't come in
called?
For whatever reason, I
Let's see if
put
it goes.
that on
You know what
Canva
part of the
and
town
then
police
I do it on a
station is?
white.
Yeah.